You are Locked On Fantasy, your daily NFL fantasy podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into the Locked On Dynasty Football Podcast. I am Kate Magdziuk. You could follow me on Twitter at FFBallBlast. And as always, I'm joined by the Dynasty King himself, Marcus Mosher. You can follow him on Twitter at Marcus_Mosher. Give the show a follow at Locked On Dynasty. Hit that subscribe button. And be sure to congratulate Marcus. If you're currently watching on YouTube, where you should absolutely subscribe so you never miss an episode, you will see Marcus waving around a very, very flashy belt that he is that designates him a champion. Congratulations, Marcus.
Thank you. First of all, shout out to Trophy Smack. If you guys haven't gone to Trophy Smack and bought a championship belt or ring, you should do so. That's not an ad read. That's just a testimonial. We love Trophy Smack. We met him at the Fantasy Football Expo. And this belt is heavy, Kate. I mean, I guess that's the price you have to pay when you win a league, right?
Yes, you have the burden of carrying all
it's
of
like 10
this.
pounds. It's heavy.
Yeah. Like, does your back hurt because you've carried the whole league? Now you have to carry this trophy around.
I will say
you're going to be on the injury report.
My wife is getting a little sick of me wearing it around the house, like sitting at the kitchen table and stuff. She thinks it's a little unnecessary, but I think it's totally necessary.
I feel like at this point, like even before bed, like in your underwear, like you have to wear it at all times, despite like what time of day, what other clothing you might be wearing.
I went out and got the garbage cans this morning with my belt on because one of my neighbors plays in the leagues, and so there you go. So today, Kate, we're gonna just kind of look at all the wild card round playoff games, and we're gonna talk about a couple guys that we're interested to see from a dynasty perspective. So let's start first with the Raiders and the Bengals. I mean, obviously, we're excited to see Ja'Marr Chase, but who else are you excited to watch in this game?
It's got to be T. Higgins. I feel like that's also a very. I'm just so excited to see the Bengals. Honestly, across the board, I'm very interested in T. Higgins because I was very high on him coming into the season. I feel like the storyline of Ja'Marr Chase really washed out. The second half breakout of T. Higgins here. I mean, to close out the season, 4 out of 6 games with 100 or more receivers, and nobody's talking about T. Higgins. It's all the Ja'Marr Chase show. He had a 1,000-yard season this year. Just such a quiet bout of production for him. Very excited for T. Higgins, but maybe even more so Joe Burrow, because this is like such a huge moment. This is a young team, a very young team. How are they going to look in a big key playoff game? They have home field advantage. Like, I have to imagine that the Bengals, the Who Dey Nation is going to come out, and I'm going to hope they take over the stadium because, guys, it feels like it's been forever. How do you expect Joe Burrow to perform in such a big moment?
I think he's going to be fine. I'm not worried about Joe Burrow at all. I think he's going to be just fine. I want to look at some value here, Kate, really quickly. You brought up T. Higgins. He's played 30 games in the NFL, and he has over 2,000 total yards and 12 touchdowns. He is currently wide receiver 10 on Dynasty League football. Another receiver, same draft class, CeeDee Lamb, has 2,000 receiving yards and 11 touchdowns. In his first 2 years, he's played 32 games, so 2 more games than Higgins, currently wide receiver 3. Can you explain that one to me?
No, I really, really cannot. And that's kind of like another storyline that I'd love to talk to more when we get to your Dallas Cowboys.
It's not necessarily a knock on CeeDee. It's just Higgins is
disrespect.
A value. Yeah,
it's the disrespect
is a value right now at wide receiver 10. I mean, we know that Chase is incredible, but Higgins is really good too.
And we know that Joe Burrow can sustain production for both of these wide receivers, as we've seen throughout the season. Both of these guys are going to finish top end wide receivers. But I mean, CeeDee Lamb, we're not really giving enough. We're not talking enough about how disappointing his fantasy season's been. He's been a wide receiver 3 or worse in 56% of his games this season.
Mm-hmm.
And incredibly, like a decent chunk of those games has come down the stretch here. Like CeeDee Lamb lost you probably a championship, or maybe lost you your playoff round to keep you out of the matchup for your final championship. 14 points, 11 points, 10 points, 8 points, 6.5 points. Every single week since week 13, he scored fewer points than the week before.
Mm-hmm. It's incredible.
Oof.
One more guy I want to mention really quickly, Hunter Renfro. Renfro had a really nice season, and you know that if you had him on your team because he probably helped you go to a championship. Kate, this year, really nice year for Renfro. 103 catches, 1,000 yards, 9 touchdowns. He's gotten better every single year. He finished the year. Do you want to guess where he finished in terms of wide receiver rankings?
He's top 15, right?
10.
Wide receiver.
10.
Wow.
Currently on
No.
Dynasty League football, though, wide receiver 49. You tell me how that makes sense.
I mean, I feel like it's kind of like the Cordero Patterson syndrome. Like, does anybody believe that this is a true breakout, or is this the anomaly season? I think we need a larger sample size of how Hunter Renfro performs with Darren Waller back in the mix full time and fully healthy before we actually know. But I mean, the Raiders would be kind of silly because we've seen him just excel in all phases of the game. We saw him make one of the most clutch tackles of the season for the Raiders. Like, I mean, Hunter Renfro is just a hashtag good football player. He's running great routes. Like, they have no reason not to commit to him in a much larger role.
He caught at least 5 passes for 50 yards in 12 out of the 17 games this year. I mean, so that's guaranteed 10 PPR points every single week, at least that. And in this year, the difference was started to score touchdowns, right? The first 2 years of his career, he had 6 total touchdowns. This year, he had 9. If he's getting 7, 8, 9 touchdowns every year plus 100 catches, he's going to be a borderline top 12 receiver. So I love Hunter Renfro. Let's go to the next game. Bills and Patriots. I don't think there's a lot to kind of lock in here because we kind of know who the studs and duds are for each team. But who are you excited to watch?
I'm looking at Devin Singletary. I think we're not giving this dude enough credit. 4 straight games with a touchdown or more. Did have 2 rushing touchdowns in week 17 against the Falcons. But I mean, I think what we're seeing finally is the team is committing to some sort of rushing attack, like 22 carries, 12 carries, 23, 19. He hasn't necessarily been uber efficient, but I do think that the dedication to the run game has gotten the Bills in a much better rhythm to close out the season. I think that's what they needed all year long. I'm excited to see Devin Singletary, what he can do. This is a tough matchup against the New England Patriots, but I think the rushing attack just in general is going to be very interesting in this game. Damian Harris, Ramondre Stevenson. This could be just a really nice game for these ground pieces. What are you expecting for New England side of the ball?
Yeah, I expect a lot of touches for Damian Harris. True or false, Kate? Damian Harris outscored Dalvin Cook this year.
True.
Damian Harris outscored Nick Chubb this year. True or false?
I gotta believe that's true.
That's false. Chubb outscored him by 5 points, but that's where we're talking about. Like he performed as a top 15 running back this year. He had more points than DeAndre Swift. He had more points than Javonte Williams, and I know that he doesn't get a lot of receptions, but when you're scoring that many touchdowns and you're racking up the yards, it's kind of hard to ignore. So I want to see Damian Harris. I want to see Ramondre Stevenson. I'd like to see the Patriots open up the passing attack a little bit. Come on, feed Jonnu. Please. I love Jonnu Smith. Just feed him. So we can.
Jonnu Smith, I was just tweeting about this the other
I
day.
know.
Can't understand the usage here for Jonnu Smith. He did play a full 16 games. I know he wasn't fully healthy during that span, but just the usage, non-existent. 45 targets, Marcus. Let's talk about this. Is this a buy low moment for Jonnu? Because I'm ready to wash my hands of it because Hunter Henry seems to be the tight end one here.
I think it might be more of a sell low, to be honest, right? Sell him now while he has any value, because next year they're actually getting some tight ends back who missed the season with injury. Devin Aussie, Dalton Keene. Those guys aren't going to be big reception guys, but they're just more tight ends that New England's going to use. So I would sell Jonnu now, even, a quarter on the dollar for what you got him for, because I just don't think he's going to have any long-term value. And it sucks because I love Jonnu Smith.
Would you rather have Jonnu Smith or David Njoku, who could be with the new team next season?
Njoku.
Wow. Okay. How about Jonnu Smith or OJ Howard? Also could be with a new team.
OJ Howard.
Wow. Oh
I know.
God.
I know. Listen,
this has to
one
be
of the world's biggest Jonnu fans. This is so tough, but
wow.
I know.
That's absolutely stunning. And I think that needs to be the title of this episode when we upload it to the podcast universe, because that is a one heck of a statement here.
Yeah, I know. It's rough. All right, let's get to the next games. But before we do that, we want to tell you guys about Online Gambling. We want to thank them for sponsoring today's podcast. Throughout the playoffs, they are providing you with the best NFL tips, news, and more to help make your bets as informed as ever. The experts at onlinegambling.com have set me the challenge of putting my own knowledge to the test and coming up with my early Super Bowl predictions to see just how much of an expert I am. I'm going Packers Titans. I'm just picking the number one seeds in each conference. I know that's really, really cheap, but that's what we're doing. We'll be keeping a close eye on this prediction as the playoffs continue. I didn't pick your Steelers, Kate, though. I kind of considered it. If you're planning on betting during the playoffs, make sure you head to onlinegambling.com before you do. Onlinegambling.com gives bettors the edge by providing the best and most trusted experience online all day, every day. That includes their OG tips section, where you'll find their own Super Bowl picks, as well as be on the inside track on how to beat the odds throughout the NFL playoffs. Make sure you visit onlinegambling.com/NFL for all the latest gambling news, tips, and info to beat the odds and give you the edge throughout the playoffs. Remember, onlinegambling.com/NFL to make the most of this year's playoffs. We also want to tell you guys about Get Upside. Our listeners are making up to 25 cents for every single gallon of gas every time they fill up. Just download the free Get Upside app in the App Store or Google Play right now and use promo code Touchdown and get a bonus 25 cents per gallon on your first fill up. That's up to 50 cents cash back. Don't pay full price at the pump anymore. Get cash back using Get Upside. You can cash out anytime to your bank account, PayPal, or e-gift card. Just download the free Get Upside app in the App Store and use promo code Touchdown to get up to 50 cents per gallon cash back on your first tank. That is promo code Touchdown. All right, Kate, the next game. It's the Eagles against the Bucks. What are you looking forward to in this one?
I think I'm most excited to take a look at Jalen Hurts here. Got some rest. I'm a little bit nervous about that resting week, especially for such a young quarterback who I think you got to keep the rhythm going for. I'm just interested to see how he performs, how he's able to use his legs in a big moment. I mean, Jalen Hurts, just absolute fantasy stud. And I think despite the fact that the team seems very committed to him, we haven't seen a huge jump in his dynasty value.
Nope.
I don't get it. He's been a stud. QB1 in 73% of his games this season. That's Mr. Reliable.
I'm curious to see the other receivers not named Mike Evans for the Bucks, because Chris Godwin is a free agent. I think they'd like to have him back, but we'll see. Antonio Brown, obviously not with the team anymore. So Does that mean more snaps?
Antonio Brown's not with the team. What happened?
Yeah, I don't know if you saw that, but he decided to leave mid-game. Listen, I love Tyler Johnson. Everybody knows how much I think Tyler Johnson could be the next Chris Godwin in this offense. Does he get a lot of targets? We'll see. Jalen Darden, I drafted in the 4th round. Maybe he gets some more snaps. I'm just looking to see, outside of Gronk and Mike Evans, who steps up for the Bucs.
Yeah, the Bucs are really one of these interesting teams because, I mean, you've got so many key players here, but when it comes to like their secondary performers, not the performers in their secondary, but like their non-studs, I mean, it could be sort of anybody's game. They have a lot of talent there, none of which has really broken out and taken over. There's just a lot of opportunity for one of these hungry wide receivers to make a name for himself in a very key moment with Tom Brady under center. This could be a huge game for these guys.
Again, Brashad Perryman, Jalen Darden, Scotty Miller, Justin Watson, Tyler Johnson. Which guy is Brady going to trust in a big moment in this game? Because it's going to happen. Like, there's going to be a 3rd and 7, and the ball's going to have to go somewhere besides Evans or Gronk. So we'll see what happens. The next one. What about the Cowboy 49er game?
Well, I think you need to take the lead on this one, Marcus. You've got all the insider info, but I want to sort of take a moment to flash back to the conversation we were having earlier about CeeDee Lamb. I want to see CeeDee Lamb in this game. I want to see what is he doing right now that is keeping him at this value as wide receiver 3? Because if he has another down game in this setting in a big moment, I'm kind of looking to maybe sell high on CeeDee Lamb. If I can get wide receiver 3 value for him, and maybe, God, if you could do a swapsies for T Higgins plus,
I think you could. I would not be shocked if you could do that. That seems very realistic. One of the reasons why CeeDee's not getting the volume that we'd like to see is because they just have so many other weapons, right? Amari Cooper,
Cedric
Michael
Wilson,
Gallup,
wide receiver 1.
Well, and that's what I was going to bring up with Cedric Wilson. Cedric Wilson currently in Dynasty League football has an ADP of 102. I think that feels a little low because we saw Wilson this year make a bunch of big plays in big moments. And I think he's a free agent this offseason. I think the Cowboys are going to want to bring him back. And with how much the Cowboys use the wide receiver 3 gear, I think he can drastically outperform that ranking. So I think Wilson's a good buy. They like to use him on some of their trick plays, whether it's reverses. He's thrown 3 passes this year. He's kind of the guy that can make plays after the catch. I think Wilson is a good buy low now, and I would not be surprised if he ends up having the most receiving yards for the Cowboys in this game. It seems like this is setting up for a big Cedric Wilson game.
All right, and out of curiosity, what are we doing about Michael Gallup right now? Is sold high or buying, selling, holding? What are we doing?
I think you have to sell because I don't think he's going to be back in Dallas. He's coming off a torn ACL that he tore, was it late December, early January?
Yeah.
Probably not going to be ready for the start of the season. You don't know which team he's going to go to. I think there's just a lot of unknowns here that I'm probably not going to be buying. So I think I am selling.
Whew. Okay.
I know. It
For a
bums
second
me out
rounder?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, how the mighty fall.
I know.
I really thought this was going to be a great buy moment for Michael Gallup, but you've taken the air out of my balloon.
It's really frustrating. One more guy from this game, just Britton and Ayuk. We kind of saw the same thing happen last year. Kate got off to a really slow start, and then by the end of the season, things picked up. Since week 9, he was averaging almost 70 receiving yards a game. He had 4 touchdowns in the last 10 games. I think this game sets up well for him. He's going to be opposite of Deebo Samuel. Probably no Trevon Diggs on him in this game. So I would not be surprising if he has a big game. And he's somebody who is clearly talented. He's ranked wide receiver 29 in Dynasty League football. wouldn't be surprised if he has a nice little run through the playoffs and we see his value rise.
Yeah, I think this definitely could be just big opportunities all around for the San Francisco wide receivers. Deebo Samuel has some really nice opportunity here.
Mhm.
The Cowboys will allow some big plays in this game, and I think that this could be a really nice moment for Brandon Ayuk to remind you why he crept into top 20 in Dynasty Valley this
Yeah.
offseason only to disappoint. He could be making a comeback.
Couple names really quickly. You tell me, who would you rather have? Keenan Allen or Brandon Ayuk?
Brandon Ayuk.
Amari Cooper or Brandon Ayuk?
Ooh. Amari Cooper.
Elijah Moore or Brandon Ayuk?
Brandon Ayuk.
Chase Claypool or Brandon Ayuk?
Brandon Ayuk.
Those are all guys ranked ahead of Brandon Ayuk currently on Dynasty League football. So
That's
kind of gives you an
pretty
idea where his
surprising.
value is at.
And let me just say, because I feel like I did respond a little quickly on the Keenan Allen bit. Keenan Allen will always be a very underrated wide receiver. And if I'm in win now mode, it's Keenan Allen. But if I'm just thinking long-term dynasty value, I'll take the former first round pick who is got the whole world in his hands. Yeah.
All right, 2 games left. But before we do that, we want to tell you guys about Built Bar. It's the new year, so that means New Year's resolutions. If yours is about getting fit or eating healthier, make sure you include Built Bar into your plan. Built Bar is the protein bar that tastes just like a candy bar, but in my opinion, it's even better than a candy bar because they're 100% covered in chocolate. And most Built Bars only contain 130 calories, 4 grams of sugar, 4 net carbs, and 17 grams of protein. Go to built.com and use promo code LOCK15 and you'll get 15% off your next order. Use promo code LOCK15 for 15% off your next order. They have some fantastic flavors out right now, by the way. Coconut almond, peanut butter brownie, raspberry, cookies and cream, salted caramel, mint brownie, and many, many more. Again, go to built.com and use promo code LOCK15 to get 15% off your next order. We also want to tell you guys about BetOnline. BetOnline would like to wish you a happy new betting year as we continue the march to the playoffs and beyond. BetOnline remains the number one spot for all of the best sports wagering action for 2022. It's a new year and a new updated desktop and mobile website for you to sign up today to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use promo code LOCKEDON to get started. From football, basketball, hockey, boxing, and UFC, right to your favorite Vegas casino games, don't wait to take advantage of all the amazing offers available for the 2022 season. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to wager on all of your favorite sports. BetOnline, where the game starts. All right, your Steelers against my Kansas City Chiefs. I don't know why they're my Chiefs. It's because they probably are playing the Steelers. Before we get to the fantasy impact, any chance the Steelers win this game?
Probably not. No.
But I bet on them on BetOnline, so there you go.
I will say, so the only thing that makes me a little bit curious is the fact that they just played this team in Kansas City, got absolutely destroyed in every aspect of this game. Like a recent loss to this team, a recent trip to this stadium, embarrassment. Nobody believes in the Pittsburgh Steelers, which I feel like that's kind of like
that's where they need to be.
That's where they need to be in this moment. And we saw Ben Roethlisberger come out and kind of like talk some smack a little bit and say like, oh yeah, like, I mean, we're done. So, you know, we're toast. Like nobody believes in us. We're never going to win this game. And this is him making his ploy and, you know, being a little playful because I feel like
the worst. I hate when the Steelers are in the spot. I'd rather have them be favored in games. That's when they really struggle.
And I mean, that is like, I don't know what it is, but when Ben Roethlisberger feels like an underdog, it's kind of like the Tom Brady syndrome.
Oh, stop it.
I'm just, It's nice to see when there's a little bit of fire underneath Ben Roethlisberger, because he performs well. The Steelers they thrive on that energy as a team. Obviously, that's not any sort of like way to like statistical analysis, but they are a very motivated team under these specific circumstances, and they thrive off the haters. That's
This
the
is
only thing.
nauseating.
I know, but you know what? The Steelers, I'll take them to cover. I'm not confident in a win, but I'll take them to cover. Bet online, AG.
It's so bad. I bet on the Steelers to win as well. Don't worry. They're plus 500 to win this game. I just want to talk quickly about the other Chiefs receivers not named Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. Which one are you more excited about long term, Mecole Hardman or Byron Pringle?
Oh, God. This is really hard because I mean, Mecole Hardman, he has the draft. Like, there should be every reason why it is Mecole Hardman.
Can I say this?
I think
though?
it has to be Mecole Hardman just because of the draft capital, because of the youth, like tied to that young quarterback, who is the best one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. I'm not ready to take the crown from Tom Brady, but I mean, Byron Pringle has just been the better football player, like across the board.
He has. However, we have seen Mecole Hardman's total yards go up in 3 straight seasons. This year, 739 yards. Again, it's not fantastic, but he's improving. We knew that he was kind of raw coming out of college. He was a former cornerback that got moved to receiver. So the better player right now is Pringle. I agree. It wouldn't shock me, though, if we kind of see this trend for Hardman where it's just a slow increase. And maybe next year it's 850 yards and 5 touchdowns, and never going to reach the value that we were hoping for, but somebody who is just kind of a solid NFL player.
I'm going to start a petition to ask that everybody please stop using Mecole Hardman and Tyreek Hill's names in the same sentence.
Yeah, they're totally different players.
That's my bid. But what would you be willing to trade for Mecole Hardman at this point if you do feel like he could be on an upward trajectory?
Probably nothing, because whoever owns him probably took him pretty high in their draft, and they're probably hoping to get something similar back in return that they spent on him. He's not somebody that's consistent at all to play as a flex play. There's other guys out there that can give you more consistent production at a far cheaper price. So Hardman isn't somebody that I'm actively trying to trade for. I wouldn't be surprised if he eventually becomes useful. He's just not there yet.
All
right. Last game, Rams 49ers. For me, this one's easy. I want to see Cam Akers. Do they lean into him being the workhorse back? Is it still Sony Michel? What's going on with that backfield?
This is kind of a tricky one, because I think like Sony Michel just has been hashtag just a solid player. He's really put them in a position to just be ready for, I think, this potential playoff run here. Hasn't been like overly efficient, but he's held up with bell cow usage here. So I do think that we are going to see an increase in workload for Cam Akers here, just given the inefficiency from Sony Michel. Only averaged 2.05 yards per attempt last week. Not fantastic for a guy that saw 21 carries, but they did face the 49ers, who have been a pretty solid rushing defense. So do I think they get Cam Akers involved? Yes. I still think it's the Sony Michel show, but I mean, you have to imagine that they're just going to continue to ramp up Cam Akers. 8 total touches last week. I wouldn't be surprised at all for him to see somewhere around 12 to 15 touches in this outing.
In the latest rankings update by Dynasty League Football, Cam Akers is running back 15. Just a couple of weeks ago, he was like running back 25. So just him being active and activated onto the field, we saw a huge rank. So if a boost in rank, if he could come in, let's say Kate, he gets 10 carries and gets 50 yards and looks good doing it, I won't be shocked if he's inside of the top 12, top 10 in a month. I really won't be.
I think that's fair.
Okay.
I'm not sure that I'm buying at that point, but
Yeah, me neither. But it's going to happen. I'm just letting you know it's going to happen. All right, that is it for today's show. Thank you guys for listening to our playoff preview. We'll be back on Monday. We'll talk about some of the news coming out of these playoff games. We're also going to start our team previews as we go into the offseason. So make sure you guys are tuning in for that. As always, you can download the podcast wherever you get your podcasts. You can follow the show on Twitter at Locked On Dynasty. You can follow Kate at FF Ballblast, and I'm at Marcus _Mosher. Enjoy round one of the playoffs. We'll see you guys next time.